Should I try this one? Yeah, I mean, I have a somewhat different perspective, I guess. I grew up a total bookworm and a nerd in a very conservative part of the country. So I didn't have a lot of friends when I was growing up, but luckily we had this K-Pro 4 computer. Does anybody remember the K-Pro line? Yeah, it was running like this crappy like CPM OS operating system, and it was this tiny little screen. And I discovered that there were all of these geeky kids who liked books and technology and science who were hanging out on this place called WizNet, which was a multi-user chat bulletin board system. This was like mid-'80s, so this is before the web, and it was before people had access to the internet unless they were at universities. And I used to stay up very late at night talking to my friends online, my online friends, because I didn't really have at my school that many real-life friends. And I can remember the shape of that computer and the sound that it made, the feeling of the keyboard under my hands. Like, it was a brushed steel keyboard, so it was kind of a little bit rough, and the keys were very clunky. It wasn't like this air that I have here. And for me, because I loved the written word so much, and this was before there were pictures on the web, we had things like, we had ASCII pictures, mostly porn, which was awesome, especially because we were teenagers. We called it prawn for a reason that I could go into later if you want. But we spent all our time writing to each other, which is what people still do online. I mean, we would write text to each other, we'd write email, we would chat with each other in text, we would pass stories back and forth, we would recommend stories and movies to each other. And so for me, my love of reading has always, like from a very deep and early time in my life, been connected to reading what people were saying on the computer. And as I got older, it just seemed natural to me that I would read books and magazines online. One of the first places I ever got published was Villalon, which you worked at for so long, and in fact, I think you might have edited the first story I ever published there. And it just, for me, loving books is about loving reading. And I think when we talk about seeing people sitting at their screens and plugged in, and like if you ever see me at a cafe here in San Francisco, which you might, with this kind of horrible computer sitting there like this, I'm not tuned out, I'm reading. I'm doing what people have always done with books, where you tune out the world and you immerse yourself in some incredible place where people are telling you cool subversive ideas or taking you to another world where you can like ride on dragons, which is particularly interesting to me right now. But also other kinds of worlds, like William Pullman's world, where I don't think they have dragons in there, do they? No.
I'm only on page 200.
Okay, there could be. So my point is there could be dragons later. So I understand people's concerns. I think Alan was right to single out the sort of horror of Facebook, the whole like mass ornament of all those faces. I think Facebook is just horrifying. I mean, I'm on Facebook. I've kind of been forced to be on Facebook by my job. I work as a blogger, and in fact, I had not wanted to be on Facebook ever, and my boss said, actually, you know what, because all of you guys are located all over the country, all the employees of this company, our employee contact list is Facebook. So you have to join Facebook if you want to make money and, you know, participate in this job. And so I was sort of dragged into it, and I think that there is something frightening about the fact that people are converting their identities into little icons. That's certainly scary. And the other thing that's scary is, in fact, that, of course, companies like Facebook or Google or Twitter, or the companies that, like AOL, that run your IM client, when you chat with your friends, they are saving all that stuff, and that is creepy. But the answer isn't to flush computers away and to get rid of all that awesome reading and connectedness that we can have online. The answer is to get more educated about how we can circumvent those spies. Like, when they take away your copy of 1984 on the Kindle, well, just freaking hack your Kindle so that no one can do that anymore. What the hell? You know, hack your computer so that you run your traffic through the Tor network so that people can't watch what you're doing online. There's all kinds. I love being here at the Mechanics Institute because this is a monument to how a history of interest in technology has helped improve society. And that's what we need to be doing, is educating people about how they can improve society by, learning more about the technology that they're using. So I think that fearing the computer is less important than learning more about it so that you can seize control of it and make sure that those fascists don't take charge, because the subversives take charge instead.